Namaskar. The farmers' protest has now entered its 80th day. Let us take a look at the content of the farm bills which are at the center of this controversy. But before we get into that, I think we should spend a little time trying to understand the background of agriculture production in this country and its distribution and marketing. Before independence, for a long time, the British had a very stiff tax on agricultural produce, and they artificially caused huge famines. For example, the Bengal famine, in which millions, yes, millions of Indian farmers died due to starvation. They produced food for others and they died of starvation. This is the background into which we attained independence, and it was imperative for our government at that time to see to it that the agriculture sector had gets a boost. The second problem was that the farmers were poor, the farmers were lacking in resources, they were not powerful enough to run markets, and they were getting exploited by traders, and they were getting exploited by shopkeepers. So the only way that the government thought that this can be remedied is to intervene in the distribution of agricultural produce. So this intervention of the government to help farmers is at the core of the way the agricultural produce happens in this country and the way it reaches your dining table. This intervention is called regulation, and for a good purpose, because it tries to regulate the way that the agriculture produce is bought by the traders. It tries to regulate the price at which some of the commodities are purchased by the traders, and it tries to regulate the agreements between the trader and the farmer so that there is no exploitation of the farm. These were the noble objectives. And this regulation was implemented through what is now called the APMC, the Agriculture Produce Marketing Committees. Interestingly, the first such intervention by the government to try and regulate the agriculture market actually happened during the British times. As far back as 1837, the British resident at that time passed a law to regulate the trading of cotton by farmers in Andhra Pradesh. But the objective of the British at that time was not really to help the farmer. They tried to get into the trading game to try and see to it that the prices were kept reasonably low so that the cotton could be purchased cheaply by the textile mills in Manchester. Of course, that is not our objective now. Our objective always has been to see to it that the farmers get their due, knowing very well the background which I've just mentioned, that for centuries they have been exploited. They had a very rough time during the British taxation period, and post independence we saw it as our moral duty to as a society to see to it that they got a just price for their produce. That is the background of the coming up of the APMCs. Now, what is the criticism of about the APMC? What are its shortcomings, and why do we even need a bill to try and remedy the faults? The first criticism about the APMC is that its benefits are cornered by the rich farmers. Its benefits are cornered by the big farmers. Its benefits are cornered by farmers mostly coming from two states of the country, Punjab and Haryana. That is one fault being pointed out by people who criticize the APMC. The other criticism is that the APMC also has its own internal problems in running itself. That it has in many states, in many districts, the APMC committees have been taken over by political parties representatives. That it is itself become a kind of run by clique of powerful traders and who keep prices deliberately low in the auctions. etc., etc. These are the main problems that the government cites regarding the functioning of the APMCs. Somewhere, this has been projected to imply that the poor farmer is not getting a benefit from the APMC. Somewhere, this criticism is being sought to justify that large number of farmers in India can actually benefit without the APMC. Now, is that true? And that is something that we have to uh, deliberate upon. There are two ways that one can bring about change in the APMC. One is for the center to enact a model bill. Please remember that agriculture and laws regarding agriculture are purely a subject of states in our constitution. It is the states which, according to their particular needs, have enacted their own APMC laws, and it is for the states to understand and respond to the farmers in their own regions. So, one way to address this shortcomings, if any, in the APMC running and functioning is for the center to adopt a model bill. The center, after all, as is like the elder brother, of the states, and like a true and good elder brother, it can give advice. It can provide some wisdom. It can provide direction, and in that way, it can produce a model bill for which there is a provision in our constitution. Such a model bill was actually enacted once by the center in 2003, and many states in India took parts of it and implemented it in their own states. Now, the thing about model bill is that it's a tool, a very nice tool for a civilized society. A model bill is not forced down the throats of the states. A model bill is just a model. It is saying that this is a beautiful way for India to make progress, and but you leave it to the states. Like in a truly civilized and democratic society, you leave it to the different regions of the country to have their own deliberations, to have their own thought process, and then to adapt and adopt this bill to suit their circumstances. Now, in 2003, many of the words that are in this present bill were already used in the 2003 model bill. Words like contract farming, words like private regulated markets, words like farmers' income. All these were part of the 2003 model bill. And as I said, some 16 states in India adopted various portions of that bill, which they found suitable for themselves. This government, too, our present government, in 2017 brought out a model bill, again a model bill for the agricultural sector, which again addressed the same things, the APMC functioning, and it suggested even further improvements. So when you have done it only in 2017, you have offered it to the states. And if I can recall, four states, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, and probably one more state actually implemented some parts of the Model Bill 2017. When you've done something as recently as 2017, why do you bring something in 2020 in this form, in the form of these three bills? That is another question that has not been answered at all honestly and transparently by the government. So it is not that changes are not happening, but that is one way of bringing about change. When you bring about a model bill, you consult the farming community, you consult the agriculture economists, and you bring out a model bill saying, we feel this should be the way, but why don't you have a look? This time, however, the government chose the other way, and which according to many is the root cause of the problem in this case, and that is they enacted a bill at the center usurping the power of the states and said this is the way the entire Indian agriculture economy will work. So they brought about a bill and told the states that you have to accept it. This is not a model bill, this is actually an act passed by parliament, and we are forcing it, and you have to accept it. This method becomes important. Why? We discussed in our first video, which we brought out a few weeks ago. I will put the link of that in this description. A very important part of the agriculture market produce committees is the concept of minimum support price, or MSP. MSP is a guaranteed minimum support price that the government offers for various products. Right now, it is on offer for 23 different products. Some of them cereals, some of them pulses, some of them oil seeds, and some even cash crops, like sugarcane. So, of these 23, the highest amount of MSP budget goes towards procurement of wheat and rice, and these are distributed through the public distribution system, the ration shops. MSPs have played a big role in ensuring that a large amount of farmers get a fair price for their produce. This is one of the objectives, remember, we said, uh, preventing the exploitation of the farmer and ensuring that he gets a fair price. Now, let's see the contents of this APMC bill and why thousands and thousands of farmers are sitting in the cold winter nights outside Delhi for 80 continuous days. This APMC bill actually does not say that it wants to do away with the APMC. It does not use those words. But in effect, it does many things combined with the two other bills, which we shall speak about subsequently. Together, the three bills give a very definite impression that the government says we do not want these APMCs. Let us have, a complete free market and throw it open for the market to find its own way to buy from the farmers. That is one of the main reasons why the farmers are protesting, because subtly the APMC bill actually is a remove APMC bill, abolish the APMC bill. Another point is that the new APMC bill, which will replace all the APMC bills of the states, does not have the words MSP in it. No minimum support price mentioned in this APMC bill. And that is a real cause of concern for the farmers, because they feel that the moment this the new bill is accepted by the state governments, the concept of MSP itself will disappear, and there'll be no way for the poorer farmers to get the slightly fairer income that they are right now getting. So even as the government has avoided using the word MSP in its new APMC bill, the farmers for the last many years have actually been demanding the opposite. They have been demanding few things. One, that why limit minimum support price to only a few cereals, a few pulses, and a few cash crops? Why not spread it to even more products, so that farmers can produce a different varieties of products? They can do multi-cropping, and they can avail of good prices for all their produce, not just for select ones. The other demand of the farmers has been that the MSP system, as it has been implemented, has not been very effective. It has been useful, yes, certainly, but it has not been so effective, because according to this government's own Shanta Kumar Committee report, which came out in 2017, less than 20% of farmers have actually availed of the full benefits of MSP. Even in the case of cereals like paddy and wheat, which is the highest procurement by the government, even in that, less than 20% of Indian farmers actually have benefited completely from MSP. As far as the other products from the list of 23 are concerned, like pulses and oil seeds, etc., very few farmers have been able to get the assured minimum support price for it. So, on the one hand, for the last 5 to 10 years, the farmers are demanding that one, the MSP be increased to more and more products, and second, that the MSP be provided to more and more farmers. Right now it is covering a very small portion of farmers in the country. Now, against that demand, what can the government do? The government could have done two things. Yes, there are some criticisms about the APMC. Yes, there are some shortcomings. So, two things they could have done. One is they could have said, let us strengthen the APMC. Let us remove the shortcomings. And the other way was, which they have chosen unfortunately, is let us remove the APMC altogether. But of course, it is open to the government to come forward and explain this. Maybe the government feels that this is what is right for the country. That remove the minimum support price, remove the APMC altogether, throw the whole thing open to market forces. But if that is so, shouldn't the government come out and say it openly, transparently, bravely, rather than bring about a bill which claims in all kinds of sophisticated false language that it is meant for the farmers, for the freedom of farmers, it's meant for all that, but in effect doing something quite reverse. It would take some bravery, of course, but if the government really had conviction that it is right, then it should come forward with a bill saying abolish APMC bill, and it should say we are doing away with this and we are doing away with minimum support price because we feel that's the way to go. But that has not happened. So this put forward a few questions for us to ponder about. For us as citizens, it is not very responsible seeing the condition of the entire world today, of the way politics is being done all over the world today, and the way politics and business, the evil nexus between them. I think it is important for all of us to ask questions, to find out information, not to immediately take sides, you're pro-government and anti-government, pro-political party, pro-that political party. Not that way, but to actually try and understand the core issues. What will happen when the APMCs actually go out the window? What will happen when farmers are not assured a minimum support price? This is an important question for all of us. And I think that will become very clear when we study the other two bills which are actually integrated along with this bill. One is called the hoarding bill, and the other is the corporate agreement bill. We will look at that in our next video.